Back in the day when, back on our BLM, Oregon BLM permit, when the snowpack was normal, all our dirt reservoirs, they had water in them, and even the creek there, the river there, they didn't have us fenced off, but now they fenced us off, and we don't have any, no snowpack. We've been off of there for a few years, I think about 4 or 5 years. Then we went on another year, and then now we're not going back out again because there's no water, no snowpack, and that's the only thing that'll fill our dirt ponds is snowpack, and we don't have it. So, and they won't allow us to put no wells out there. I don't have no idea why they wouldn't allow us to put wells out there, but I've asked him one time before, why couldn't we? And it'd do good for everybody. And I said, that's, as a Bureau of Land Management, I told him that's your most important land management resource is water. I said, you guys always complain about us hammering an area too darn much. I said, if we had wells out there and we were able, then we could manage the grass and everything a lot better. That way we could move our cattle, shut the water off here and move them over there. A lot of places up there that aren't touched at all because there's no water. And even if we had just 2 wells up there, we could cover pretty much all that country, and shut it off and have gravity flowed system up there to where we can water the cattle, shut it off there, move it someplace else, and then there you go. You're managing your land. We're not hammering it. We're not hurting it anyway. But I guess they don't believe in management that way. So yeah, we've had a few good range cons out there, but whatever they say isn't going to go anyway. It's the people up above who make the decisions. So, and they'll never come out to see what the issues are or anything like that. So, just a lose-lose situation, I guess. You know it, but you continue on doing it because I don't know. I guess it's just you love it, I guess. So, no matter what, you continue on doing it and try to find a alternative, some alternative resources to try to hold on, and that's about all we could really do. And every time they come up with new regulations, earlier on, like in the early 2000s, we had to comply with them. Otherwise, they say you'll lose your permit, and which we probably wouldn't, but we still did. And I've kind of told them too myself, the United States government, they come up with all these new regulations and stuff, and I asked them, have you guys looked into your financial resources before you even did that? Because a lot of times, they've already got they've already got things into place to where their famous saying is, well, our budget constraints, we can't uphold that based on our budget constraints. So I told them, I says, before you guys ever, what people back, whoever makes these decisions back east, I said they need to look at their finances before they create any new policies. Because it costs money to uphold them, and then if they don't have the budget to uphold them, then they say, well, we can't do it based on our budget constraints. So why do it? I ask them. The first thing you do is look at it. Can we afford to do this? But they don't do it that way. So here we sit. And they can't afford to maintain their stuff, but yet they won't listen to the ranchers and say, well, you may have a good idea there. It'd be less costly for them to listen, I think, to the ranchers and listen to their ideas and quit buying so damn many new vehicles and stuff and invest that into a couple of wells. It'd do them good, It really would. And or even roads, they allow us to haul water, but in our country you can't. The roads are so damn bad that you'd be having blowouts, maybe 10 blowouts a day. That's pretty darn costly. So that's not a good idea to haul water. But a well, a couple of wells in that country would really do good. We have a lot of feed but no water. We're kind of opposite from our neighbors. They got water, but they don't have no feed. We've got a lot of feed, no water. So, and you try to ask them, well, what about the wildlife? We could utilize that water for wildlife too. Even the wildlife leave that country because there's no water. So, and then all this climate, it's changed. I mean, heck, everybody can see that. When I was a kid, we used to fight the snowpack going up. And I mean, it was every year. It was a battle going up there. You had to get across some creeks before 9 o'clock in the morning, 9:30 in the morning. Otherwise, they'll be really running high. Creeks that don't run normally during the year. Springtime, things start thawing in the morning. You got to get across them, otherwise you can't cross them. And that was normal. Anymore, a lot of those creeks don't even run anymore. And again, like I say, even here, down here, we don't get the normal snowpack we used to get. My dad used to start feeding Christmas Eve every year. That was just a normal thing because Christmas Eve it started snowing here. It was the same every year. That's when we got our big snow, was Christmas Eve. So Christmas Day is when he started feeding every day. Christmas Day, so that was a norm. But anymore, heck, just like me, this past year, it wasn't because of the snow or anything. It was because the pasture run out in the meadows. I had to start feeding Thanksgiving Day because our pasture ran out. So we started feeding hay Thanksgiving Day, and we just got done last night. I mean, this morning was the last day we fed, so that was it. It was a long year, as far as feeding hay from Thanksgiving until now, today, 1st of April. I mean, first part of April, that's a long year. My hope for the future is that, the climate could give us a little water, a little snow, be a little more consistent the way it used to be. That would be great, but I doubt if it's going to happen. It's going to be just like it is now. Sometimes you get hit a little bit with it, sometimes you don't. And that's kind of my wishes, is the weather. If the weather would be more consistent as far as snow and rain, but I doubt it's going to happen. Like here in this country, we have 2 big ranches down here that we put hay up at and pasture it. And you really think about it, we may have to start turning around, like on bad years or years like this, come out for a while and then utilize our hay meadows for pasture. And then we're going to have to start maybe putting some of this land out here into pivots if we can, and just grow a little better hay, and then start utilizing our hay lands for pasture. If it continues on like this, we're going to have to look at it that way, I think, because I don't think it's going to change for the good. We may get a good year, but I don't think it'll be very consistent. So we're going to have to start thinking about things like that, and it's either trying to figure something out like that, another alternative, or throw in the towel, one of the two. So that's the way I kind of see things coming at us. So it's hard to convince everybody, that this may be this may be what we're headed to, and we need to do something like that. But that's the hardest part of it, because we all run in common here. We have a Stockman's Association, and we all run together, and everybody has their own different ways of doing things and thoughts, and so that's one of the toughest parts of it. And like it's changed. It's changed. In the old timers, they kind of ran a little more, helped each other, run together and stuff like that. Anymore, it's changed a lot. One time my wife, a few years back, we thought about, the way things are going in the country. I mean, everything, the climate, everything, and just getting out of the cattle and moving on, going someplace, living the good life, supposedly, set up a job where you work 8 hours a day, come home, weekends off, go find something to do. And told her we might have to do that because this isn't looking too good. So she asked me if I was sure, and I said, I'm not really sure, but I said something we may have to really consider and look into doing it, because what are we going to do? And we're a long ways from town. She travels 75 miles one way to work and back, and so she says, you're not going to be happy. Think about it. She says, you will not be happy. She says, I'm going to have to live with it. So and she says, no. She says, I don't think we should do that, because she grew up the same way, ranching family, and she likes it. And so we're still here. And I think she's right. I'd be a miserable person, without it. I guess we're all that way. There's things about it that, don't make us too happy. But yet again, if it wasn't there, you really wouldn't be happy. You wouldn't be able to live without this, no matter what. And just the way it is. And I guess you love it so damn much that, you can't live without it. And I don't know why, but some people are just that way.